unicorns, it's Miss Dorman. I just wanted to read to you from Matilda. We were on the Trunchbull, so I wanted to read it, and then maybe you guys could send me questions on blooms about what's going to happen next, or what you thought about this chapter. Are you ready? Okay, the Trunchbull. In the interval, Miss Honey left the classroom and headed straight for the headmistress' study. She felt wildly excited. She had just met a small girl who possessed, or so it seemed to her, quite extraordinary qualities of brilliance. There has not been a time yet to find out exactly how brilliant the child was, but Miss Honey had learned enough to realize that something had to be done about it, and as soon as possible. It would be ridiculous to leave a child like that stuck in the bottom form. Normally, Miss Honey was terrified of the headmistress and kept well away from her. But at this moment she felt ready to take on anybody. She knocked on the door to the dreaded private study. "Enter," boomed the deep and dangerous voice of Miss Trunchbull. Miss Honey went in. Now, most head teachers are chosen because they possess a number of fine qualities. They understand children, and they have children's best interests at heart. They are sympathetic, they are fair, and they are deeply interested in education. Miss Trunchbull possessed none of these qualities, and how she got her present job was a mystery. She was above all a most formidable female. She had once been a famous athlete, and even now the muscles were still clearly in evidence. You could see them in the bull neck, in her big shoulders, her thick arms, and her sinewy wrists, and her powerful legs. Looking at her, you got the feeling that this was someone who could bend iron bars, tear telephone directories in half. Her face, I'm afraid, was neither a thing of beauty nor of joy forever. She had an obstinate chin, a cruel mouth, and a small, arrogant eyes. And as for the clothes, they were to say at least extremely odd. She always had a brown cotton smock which was pinched around the waist with a wide leather belt. The belt was fastened in front of her with an enormous silver buckle. The massive thighs which emerged from her smock were encased in a pair of extraordinary breeches, bottle green in color and made of coarse twill. So twill, children, twill is a type of a fabric. Okay? All right. These breeches, and breeches are another fancy way of saying pants, reached to just below the knee, and there on the bottom she sported green stockings with turn-up tops, which displayed her calf muscles in perfection. On her feet she wore flat-heeled brown brogues with leather flaps. She looked short, more like rather eccentric and bloodthirsty follower of the staghounds and the headmistress of a nice school for children. When Miss Honey entered the study, Miss Trunchbull was standing beside her huge desk with a look of scowling impatience on her face. "Yes, Miss Honey," she said. "What is it you want? You're looking very flushed and flustered this morning. What's the matter with you? Have those little stinkers been flicking spitballs at you again?" "No, headmistress, nothing like that." "Well, what is it then? Get on with it. I'm a busy woman." As she spoke, she reached out and poured herself a glass of water from a jug that was always found on her desk. And here's the picture. You guys are going to be able to see this. It's the Trunchbull, and she is looking as scary as possible. Okay. "There is a little girl in my class called Matilda Wormwood," Miss Honey began, "and that's the daughter of a man who owns Wormwood Motors in the village." Miss Trunchbull barked. She hardly ever spoke in a normal voice. She either barked or she shouted. "An excellent person, Wormwood," she went on. "I was in there only yesterday. He sold me a car, almost new. Only done 10,000 miles. The previous owner was an old lady who took it out once a year at the most. A terrific bargain. Yes, I like Wormwood. A real pillar of our society. He told me that his daughter was a bad lot, though. He said to watch out for her. He said if anything ever happened in the school, it was certain to be his daughter who did it. I haven't met that little brat yet, but she'll know about it when I do. Her father says she's a real wart." "Oh no, Miss Headmistress, that can't be right," Miss Honey cried. "Oh yes, Miss Honey, it darn well is. In fact, now that I come to think of it, I'll bet it was her who set off that stink bomb under my desk first thing this morning. The place stank like a sewer. Of course it was her. I shall have her for that. You see to it if I don't. That's what she looks like. Or what does she look like? Oops. Nasty little worm. I'll be bound. I have discovered, Miss Honey, during my long career as a teacher, that a bad girl is a far more dangerous creature than a bad boy. What more, they're much harder to squash. Squashing a bad girl is like trying to squash a blue bottle. You bang down on it and that darn thing doesn't get anywhere. Nasty, dirty things, little girls are. Glad I never was one. What? I thought she was a girl, unicorns, but maybe she's not. But hey, girls are awesome. Okay, let's see what else she has to say. She's completely off her rocker, Miss Honey told herself. She's barmy as a bedbug. Miss Honey stood before the headmistress. For once she got nothing but a browbeating. I must tell you, headmistress, she said, that you are completely mistaken about Matilda putting a stink bomb under your desk. I am never mistaken, Miss Honey. But headmistress, the child only arrived in the school this morning and came straight to the classroom. Don't argue with me, for heaven's sake, woman. This little brute Matilda, or whatever her name is, that stink bomb my study, there's no doubt about it. Thank you for suggesting it. But I didn't suggest it, headmistress. Of course you did. Now what is it that you wanted, Miss Honey? Why are you wasting my time? I came to you to talk about Matilda, headmistress. I have extraordinary things to report about the child. May I please tell you what happened in class just now? I suppose she set fire to your skirt, scorched the knickers. Miss Trunchbull snorted. Remember, knickers are a fancy way of saying underpants, okay? All right. No, Miss Honey cried out. Matilda is a genius. At the mention of this word, Miss Trunchbull's face turned purple, with her whole body seemed to swell up like a bullfrog. A genius, she shouted. What a piffle! Is this what you're talking about, madam? You must be out of your mind. I have her father's word for it that the child is a gangster. Her father is wrong, headmistress. So, girls, gangsters were like bad people. So she's basically giving Matilda a put down, not a put up. Don't be a twerp, Miss Honey. You have met the little beast for half an hour, and her father has known her whole life. But Miss Honey was determined to have her say, and she now began to describe some of the amazing things that Matilda had done with arithmetic. So she learnt a few tables by heart, she said, Miss Trunchbull barked. My dear woman, who doesn't know how to make her a genius? It makes her a parrot. But headmistress, she can read. So can I, Miss Trunchbull snapped. It is in my opinion, Miss Honey said, that Matilda should be taken out of my form and placed immediately in the top form with the 11-year-olds. Ha! Snorted Miss Trunchbull. So you want to get rid of her, do you? So you can't handle her? So now you want to upload her on this wretched Miss Plimsoll in the top form where she'll cause even more chaos? No, cried Miss Honey. This is not my reason at all. Oh, yes, it is, shouted Miss Trunchbull. I can see right through your little plot, madam, and my answer is no. So, ladies, here is Miss Honey trying to plead for little Matilda. Hopefully you saw that. Sorry if you didn't. Okay. It's up to you to see that she behaves herself, said headmistress. But headmistress, please. Not another word, shouted Miss Trunchbull. And in any case, I have a rule in this school that all children remain in their age groups regardless of their ability. Great Scott, I'm not having a little 5-year-old brigade against sitting with the senior girls and boys at the top form. Who ever heard of such a thing? Miss Honey stood there helpless before this great red-necked giant. There was a lot more she would like to have said, but she knew it was useless. She said softly, Very well, then. It's up to you, headmistress. You're darn right it's up to me, Miss Trunchbull bellowed. And don't forget, madam, that you're dealing with a little viper who put a stink bomb under my desk. She did not do that, headmistress. Of course she did, Miss Trunchbull boomed. And I'll tell you what, I wish to heavens I still allowed to use the perch and... Oh, sorry, ladies. That bird, did you hear that bird? It totally distracted me. Let me try it again. Of course she did, said Miss Trunchbull. And I'll tell you what, I wish to heavens I was still allowed to use the birchen belt as I did in the good old days. I have roasted Matilda's bottom so she couldn't sit down for a month. Okay, ladies, so remember we talked a little about long time ago, teachers were allowed to spank children. What? That doesn't happen though, okay? That's not allowed, okay? I love you guys. Miss Honey turned and walked out of the study feeling depressed, but by no means defeated. I'm going to do something about this child, she told herself. I don't know what it'll be, but I shall find a way to help her in the end. What is Miss Honey going to do for Matilda? Also, girls, I think we might have read this chapter. Let me know. Ask your parents if you could blooms me a question. Okay? I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.